problem is with this piece is we now can't get rid of Sir John Hayes. We think we're just foxing someone independently, and he just pops up. He starts talking to them, pushing them our way, for people he thinks are voting Tory. So this is Spalding, and Spalding is part of the magnificently named South Holland and the Deepings constituency, which just so happens to be, in the last Parliament anyway, the safest Conservative seat in the country. They dominate here, rural constituency, east of England, heavily Brexit voting, etc. So we just thought, given we were passing by, it would be rude not to pop in and just try and get a sense of the views of what should be the most conservative place in the country, the people who live there. Within precisely 30 seconds of being in Spalding, the first person we ran into was Sir John Hayes, the local Tory MP.
Please take my leaflet.
So this is your leaflet. I mean, I sort of knew this would be the case. No sign of the Prime Minister on there.
Well, the Prime Minister's not standing here. I'm standing here.
I know, but normally one would put.
No,
them.
absolutely not.
No, you wouldn't put.
I've fought 8 campaigns. And in every one of my campaigns, I focused on what I'm doing for the local people.
Do you think he's doing? Do you think he's doing a good job?
Well,
good campaign.
The Prime Minister is the Prime Minister. He's fighting the campaign nationally. I'm fighting it here locally.
But
anyway, I want to go and meet voters.
But, of course, I understand. But just one more. I mean, I totally understand. But I just want to know: do you think he's doing a good job, the Prime Minister, in the campaign?
Minister, in terms of what we've achieved as a government, I think the news on the economy is really encouraging. We've got inflation down to where it needs to be. That's very important.
So he is doing a good job in the campaign.
Well, that manifesto pledge, I'm standing on a manifesto.
I know. But it's a
straightforward. And the manifesto
question.
is the Prime Minister's, in part, responsibility. Prime Minister and others write and compose that manifesto.
So there he is. He's still pressing the flesh there, Sir John. Very funny to have run into him within the first 30 seconds of being in Spalding. But you will have noticed, gave a very, very game assessment of his local campaign, but you will have noticed that he was reluctant to engage with the question I asked him many times. Yeah, I can see that, Sir John. Yeah, good luck to you. Very, very reluctant to engage with that central question, which is whether or not Rishi Sunak is doing a good job on the campaign nationally, and that is because virtually every Conservative MP would privately agree that he isn't.
I think there's a lot of gullible people who will vote for reform on the basis that Britain will become a utopian society without migrants, and it's just not going to happen. And frankly, I wouldn't trust Mr. Farage as far as I could kick him.
Well, thank you very much, and can I compliment you on your pipe, which is very handsome. So thank you.
Cheers, bye.
Bye-bye. Let's wait. Okay.
This route is the cognoscentia of Spalding.
I see. Right. Okay. Fine.
Known me for years.
I see. Oh, I'm so sorry. 25 years. Hello, sir. How are you doing?
All right. Yeah.
How are you going to be voting? I assume, given that Sir John has introduced us to us, you're going to be voting for him.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Why?
He helped me a lot.
Oh right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
he helped me to get a 2-bedroom bungalow, and that when the council turned around and said I was only entitled to one.
What do you think about Rishi Sunak?
Well,
he's not standing it.
He's the Prime Minister.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
What do you think of him?
Yeah, he's does good in one way, but too young.
How are you going to be voting?
Nigel.
Nigel. You're going to be voting Nigel Farage. Yeah. Why is that?
Because I like him.
You can't stand that bloody bloke. No. Why not, madam?
He's arrogant.
Arrogant.
Yeah.
Oh,
So who are you going to be voting for?
he might be on television.
You're voting for me?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not standing.
Your party then.
No, I'm a journalist. I'm not with Sir John. No. Here he is again.
We're sensible people here, you know.
What? John, if you otherwise it looks like you've set him up. So I know. It just looks like you're.
Well, I shall still vote Conservative, but I wish they'd get some bloody fire in the bellies.
You're doing so reluctantly.
I'm that man. See you soon.
Bye, Sir John. Keep thinking we've shaken Sir John, but he turns up again.
All the best. Yeah. You've got to have somebody in politics who's not frightened to speak the bloody truth and speak it with force.
And so what do you think of Sunak? Now he's gone, you can say, be honest.
What, Sunak?
Yeah.
He's as weak as bloody washing up water. Cold washing up water as well.
But you're still definitely going to vote Conservative?
I'm not going to vote bloody Labour, because I'm 82 nearly now.
Yes, mate.
And all the Labour governments I've known, by the time they've finished their term in power, the country's on the bloody floor. So that was in the mid-70s, with 25% inflation, then like a bloody forest fire. And he still thought he was bloody Mr. Wonderful.
Never had someone who's still angry about Harold Wilson before, but, I suppose these scars run deep. Problem is with this piece is we now can't get rid of Sir John Hayes. We think we're just foxing someone independently, and he just pops up. He starts talking to them, pushing them our way, for people he thinks are voting Tory. It's not ideal when trying to do a piece which is, let's see if we can find anyone who's still voting Tory. Eventually, we did manage to shake Sir John, and when we did, these are the people we found.
Corporal punishment in schools reintroduced the birch and the death penalty for certain categories of murder, especially that of terrorism and child murder. Then you will see some form of, in my mind, deterrent and respect back into our society, but not until. And then I said, are you going to denounce the Zionist Rothschilds and the New World Order, Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum, right, and the World Health Organisation and the Trilateral Commission? Right. And hashtag Pizzagate. Anyway, that's so really, until they do that, or give me an answer, Mr. Tyson, Mr. Farage.
I think you'll be waiting a long time.
Well, exactly, yeah. But there'll be no change, because personally, for me, at the end of the day, they're all puppets.
Well, there's no party that wants to bring back the birch and denounce the World Economic Order.
There's only one.
Yeah, there's probably a good reason for that, sir. But anyway, thank you very much. Yeah, okay. Lovely to talk to you. How do you think the country's been going in the last few years?
Gone down the drain. Got worse and worse and worse, the country has, hasn't it? We've had 3 prime ministers that we didn't. We had 2 that we didn't vote for, and that's not right. We're going to have a change.
Like a lot of the things that Farage is saying, mate, to be fair, 100%. Like when we come out of Brexit, we decided that we was going to shut our borders and do this kind of thing, but it hasn't been the case really, in theory, from what they've been saying, from what I know of anyway. Is that we're housing a lot of.
Well, we said take back control, didn't we? Take back control.
Yeah, we wanted to take back control. We wanted to bring the country back to where it should be, man.
Where should the country be?
Well, we should be kind of, making
as we were. As we were probably.
When? Kind of World War sort of time, like when we had our own factories, we was producing our own stuff, our own metals, our own, we was making stuff, like now it's just hardly anything, to be fair.
So I said on the podcast last week that the Tory party, it's hard to imagine the Tory party completely disappearing because it's got deep roots, and of course in its safest seat it's going to have the deepest and thickest roots of all, and you can feel it in places like here, right? There's that kind of congenital, automatic, axiomatic, reflexive Toryism that you get in some Labour constituencies for the equivalent as well, right? So the Tory party, I think, is going to survive this election, maybe in heavily reduced numbers, but I can't imagine it not surviving. But what you can sense here is the same thing as everywhere else, which is amazing when you consider how safe this seat is. Complete despondency with the Conservative brand. I've been travelling around the country 2.5 weeks now. I can barely find anybody who's got a positive word to say about Rishi Sunak.
He's as weak as bloody washing up water.
Or Keir Starmer, really, for that matter, but especially Rishi Sunak in very Conservative seats. And you do feel, again, that opening for Farage.
I'm going to vote reform.
People talk about him generally quite glowingly. And most interestingly of all, have generally started to see his literature, his online stuff, the fact that he's in the campaign, which when you consider he only entered the campaign, like at the very last minute, is actually pretty remarkable.
All day long, Farage.
So that same theme that we're seeing everywhere, despondency with politics, despondency with the 2 main characters, and Sunak in particular, and therefore, into that caustic cynicism, the opening for Farage and people like him.
The Newsagents. This is a Global Player original podcast.